everyone. My name is Jasmine, and I'm here to offer you what I hope will make the shelter in place a bit more palatable, which would be to shelter in squat. While squatting is one of the most effective types of exercise we can do, it also has several contraindications. So please make sure that it is safe for you to squat before you begin engaging in squat activities. Just a couple of basic points that I want you to keep in mind. When we're squatting, we need to make sure that our knees are not coming forward of the toes. So we want to send the hips back while keeping the knees in a nice alignment. Another thing we tend to do is to counterbalance the weight on the back of the axis. We tend to drop the torso and even allow collapsing through the spine. So we want to stay really aware of keeping the chest open and the ears away from the shoulders, keeping the abs engaged so that when we come back, we're actually staying lifted through the torso. And a great way to do that is to use the arms to counterbalance instead, and you may even consider adding some weights. So using the weights to counterbalance also, it increases the challenge, increases the efficacy for the upper body, but it also helps counterbalance a bit more so we're less inclined to droop forward, if you will. Okay, we're going to start with a little warm-up here, which is going to be a wall sit. And this is a great way to modify as well if you have any injuries or contraindications that keep you from doing the full squat. So my feet are about hips width or shoulder width apart. And I'm just going to bring the sacrum back toward the wall and then straighten up against the wall. And then I'm going to walk my feet out a little bit away from the wall so that I can find a nice lowered position. And ideally, those femurs are going to be parallel to the ground. So beginning my warm-up here, I just want to take my pelvis through a little range of motion. So as I exhale, I'm going to pull the navel in and up and pull the pelvis into a tuck. I'm pressing my low back against the wall. And then with the inhale, I'm going to allow a deep curvature through the lumbar region. Good, so just a few of these. Again, pushing the low back into the wall, pulling the navel in and up, and then coming into that deep lumbar curvature. Good, for 3, squeeze nice and tight, and let it go. For 4, and one more time. For 5. Good, now keep that activity in the lower abdomen, but come into that little lumbar curvature, kind of neutral position. Okay, we can always increase the challenge here by lifting the heels, getting those calves activated. So that's a good thing to do for the warm-up. You're going to notice your quad should be burning a bit by now. 4 and 5. Good, you can also tap the toes. And if you're feeling extra fancy, you might walk those feet in just a little bit to a more narrow wall sit and see if you can work a little march. Okay, this is a great challenge. Work a little wall sit march. Great. 4 and 5. Good. I'm feeling pretty warmed up now. I'm ready for a real squat. So I'm going to keep these weights with me. I'm going to show you a few different modifications you can use just to get more fun out of the activity. Okay, so I'm going to start with the weights on my shoulders. And I'm going to start in a shoulder or hip width stance. So this is a very standard squat. I'm going to lift through the crown, drop down through the coccyx, pull the navel in and up, and I'm just going to drop those hips back and lift. Squeeze at the top, lower and lift. That's 3. Here's 4, 5, keep it up, lift both sets of cheeks. Here's 7, this is 8, here's 9, and on 10, we're gonna pulse it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe you wanna have a little fun and bring those arms out and give me 10 more pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lower the weights, lift the hips, and lift the cheeks. Nice, shake it out a little bit. Now we're going to try a more narrow squat. So we're going to bring the feet in, a little more narrow than hips distance apart. And I'm going to keep the weights out to the sides this time. Rolling the shoulders back and down, lifting through the crown. We're gonna drop it back and lift. Good, bring it back. This you're gonna feel a lot more in the quads than the standard squat. Good. And maybe you wanna change up the arms. Maybe you'd like to do a hammer curl. It's a good one. Hammer curl, or maybe a more standard bicep curl. Keep those biceps hugging the rib cage. Good. Or maybe you want to take a wide bicep curl. There you go. Maybe you want to alternate. That always makes it more fun. Bring it in and out. Good. Try again. In and out. How about one more? Let's bring it in and out. Great, and shake that out. Now we're gonna try a wide squat. So we're gonna come a little bit wider than our standard squat. Then I'm gonna take a little external rotation. So that comes from the head of the femur, rotating out in the os coxae. And we're gonna keep bending the knees in line with the toes. Okay, so that doesn't change, but now that direction has changed. Okay, so we're gonna start with just a little lower and lift. You'll notice this has a lot less of that dropping back feeling. You're kind of dropping down through center. Good, and I'm just taking a little raise on the sides, lateral raise here. But maybe you wanna take those arms up a little higher. That can also be fun. 2, 3, 4, good, 5. Let's go ahead and bring it down and hold it and take a little pulse. Pulse. Go ahead and let those weights come down on the shoulders and see if you can lift one heel. Good. This gives us a little bit of instability, and also we're biasing the challenge to the right upper thigh and the left calf. Good. 8, 2 more, 9, and you guessed it, we're gonna switch. Lower and lift. Don't forget to lift the cheeks. It's part of the exercise. This is 4. How about 5? Almost there. 7. Here's 8. Push into the ball of that foot. 9 and 10. Good. Now I'm going to show you what I call an articulated squat. Okay, so this one's kind of fancy. Helps work the balance and get the calves involved. Okay, so first I'm just going to go ahead and squat it back. I'm in a standard stance. Okay, now I'm going to lift my heels and then lift my hips. Lower my heels and lower my hips. Heels, hips, heels, hips. Heels, hips, heels, hips. Good. 4. It is a balance challenge. I mentioned that. And 5. Good. Can we reverse it? How do we do that? Okay, go ahead and bring it up. Bend the knees gently. Lift the heels. Good. Now squat it back. Hips, heels. Push into the heels. Lift. Lift the heels. Lower the hips, lower the heels, and lift the hips. Good. Heels, hips, heels, hips, heels, hips, heels, hips. Just one more. Heels, hips. Can you pulse it here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Push it up and let it go. Nice. Now we're going to try a little goblet hold, and we're going to take the toes in and out. Okay, so take a medium stance, somewhere between standard and wide. So you're just going to be adjusting, rotating the entire leg in and out. All right, I'm holding the weights at my chest, but I'm not going to let myself collapse. I'm staying tall and strong, and I'm going to start with a squat back. I'm going to come up, Roll the toes out. A whole leg rotates out. I'm gonna squat down, up, in, down, up, out. Down, up, in, down, up, out. Good. Keep it. You can speed it up a little if you've got it. Good. Give me 3 more. How about 2 more? One more time, out and in. Hold it down, pulse. 8, 9, 10, and push it up. That's all the time I have. I thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to keep the cheeks lifted as often as possible. It's part of the exercise.